Hey folks, Post here, welcome back to another Pokemon Masters video, and yesterday we went through the top 10 hardest physical hitting units in the game, right? And today let's go through special. So let's get right into it. So like, the rules are still the same, right? Only other hardest hits, damage per move, not per second, per gauge, per whatever, right? No support, self buffs only, grid prioritizes damage per move, not, again, overall efficiency. It's against neutral typings. Max 5 out of 5, 20 out of 20 for assemble units, 20 out of 20, however, out of 5 for free-to-play units. Depends on availability, right? And for lucky skills, everyone has lucky skills. You know, generally, I'll explain as we go through the lucky skills anyways. But just a quick note that for lucky skills that do get Power Flux 3, for units that do give themselves move gauges, we will give them at 6 move gauges for Power Flux 3. Or else everyone's just going to have Power Flux 3, and it's going to be very uninteresting. Alright, let's get into this list then. So, like I said yesterday, be prepared because these special attackers do way more damage than physical attackers. So, coming in at number 10, we have Infernape, Flint and Infernape at 2 out of 5. Wait, was Flint and Infernape on the physical list as well? Well, no. It wouldn't make sense if they made the physical list, right? Because, their physical attack is Fire Punch, is a 2 gauge move, which, this list tend to favor, higher move gauge users, right? So here we go, Flint and Infernape with Fire Blast, right? 2 out of 5, right? With grid, obviously, base stats 267. Okay-ish base, I guess. It's not, it's medium, I'd say, in terms of on this list. It's not like on the low end, it's not on the high end either. Grid plus gear 65, more stats there. Move power, let's just say it's 120, I guess. Passives, you got powers of 2 active, right? No passive skills on the grid. In terms of damage, right? Lucky skills active, you got critical strike 2. So the crit buff is 1.451. Oh, also, I wanted to shout out. Let's see, who was it again on who commented yesterday on the video about the critical strike that we actually didn't multiply in the chances where they did not actually go ahead and do the critical strike multipliers for the crits that didn't get a hit. Let me see if I could find their names real quick. Ski gloves, right? Yeah, and we did fix that over here. And also, again, before I forget, and somehow I did forget because it's like been a day or two. But yeah, huge shout outs again to runners Squish and Blank for helping me with the calculations, so it wouldn't take me a whole month to complete all this. I think yesterday I said like 2 weeks or something, and now it's like a month. I'm just throwing out random long periods of time there. I actually don't know how long it would have taken me. Anyways, so again, moving on with Infernape's stuff, right? Crit buff 1.451. Right. Well, the reason why it's 1.451 is it's complicated, but basically in comparison to like the units that only have like regular, +2 crits, Infernape does have a grid, and we did give it the Dire Hit MP refresh, right? So we did calculate that in. If you want the formula, I guess you could ask me. I'll explain it to you in person. I don't want to confuse everyone. It's really weird and complicated, and no one wants to hear about it. Moving on, attack buff, same deal with crit buff, right? Does have refresh node, MP refresh node for its attack buffs, right? Or in this case, special attack buff. Sync move buff 1.5, so total damage 271,335 on a Fire Blast on Power Reserve. That's a lot of damage. Okay, moving on to number 9 on this list, we got Fantina Mismagius, which I did get slightly surprised by this entry, right? I didn't think they were gonna make it, but apparently they did. So here we go. Fantina Mismagius base stats 363. Also, you know what? I'd say like slightly below average. Same with, I guess, Flint stats, like they're around average, but like slightly lower in terms of base stats on this list, right? Move power 118 on the Shadow Ball, passive's active. Bulk Buster 4, which is probably where she gets like the bulk of her damage from that Bulk Buster 4, right? Which again only activates on, well, it always activates, but you know its max potential is against units with max HP, so that's a 40% boost for its passive, right? No grid, lucky skill, power flux 3 because she does give herself gauges, so power flux 3. Crit buff 1.4, attack buff 1.6, sync move buff 1.5, thus total damage 277,042. That's a decent amount. Again, I did not see Fantina making this list at all, but apparently she did. Alright, moving on to number 8 here. Clair Kingdra. Oh, I forgot to mark it. It is 2 out of 5. Clair Kingdra, 2 out of 5. So, Clair Kingdra, like, basically, like, her, like, it's just the raw power plus her buffs, honestly, of Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor just does so much damage. If you get, like, a Dauntless Kingdra, oh, boy. Although I'm not sure if you really want a Dauntless Kingdra or not, but, yeah. Does a lot of damage. Hey, also a free-to-play unit. A lot of free-to-play units are ranked really high on these lists, which is just kind of shows you that some free-to-play units in this game, yeah, pretty good, eh? Not as paid as as a lot of people claim it is. Which, if you search Puppet Masters on YouTube, there's like a lot of videos saying, "Oh, this game is so playable, man." Like, dude, like some of the strongest decks in the game, some of the strongest supports in the game are all free-to-play units. So yeah, anyways, let's get into Kingdra before I get too off topic. Base stats 349, grid plus gear 75. You do have Dragon Gear, right? Move power 142 on that level 2 Draco Meteor. Only 2 Duke Draco Meteor, 142. No passives active, no grid passives active. Like when Kingdra gets unlocked to like max dupe, she's an absolute monster. 2 out of 5, she's still okay, right? Also, if she actually does get spoiled, like Dire Rain and all that stuff, ugh, Raging Rain. Anyways, again, we're talking about no boosts here. Lucky skills active, we gave her Crit Strike 2, crit buff, again, same with Infernape, 1.451, attack buff 1.8, sync move buff 1.5, total damage 278,429. That's a decent amount of damage. Although not too much of a boost from, in comparison to Fantina, but still, good damage, good damage. Hey, it's a free-to-play unit, right? Moving on to the next one, Blue and Mega Pidgeot. When I first started, doing this list, I thought Blue would be higher, but apparently not. I think I know why though. There's a few reasons I think why Blue isn't higher, but we'll go over them when we get there, right? So base stats 495. Insane amounts of special attack, 495. Grid plus gear, again, flying gear, 2-star flying gear, 50. Move power 141 on that Hurricane, passives active, 0. Grid passive active, no grid. Got crit strike, crit buff is 1.4, right? Crit buff 1.4, so it's not 100% crit, unfortunately. Like, you do get 100% crit on, like, Air Cutter, but not on Hurricane. Attack buff 1.6, sync move buff 1.5. So a few issues with Blue, right? And why I think Blue didn't get higher than I expected him, right? First of all, you don't have like the max crit buff, which does kind of hurt, and your attack buff or special attack buff, right? It's not like 1.8 either. And also Hurricane is actually not 100% hit with the 2 Smellators. I think it has Hurricane at what, 93% chance or something after you use 2 Smellators, right? So unfortunately that's not 100% hit as well. That's why Hurricane's damage is slightly lower, just because of the accuracy issues, and that's probably why Blue isn't any higher. But hey, it's still not bad. 299,362 damage. There you go. Moving on to number 6 on this list. Another surprise. She's a support. Okay, I'll stop. But yeah, Sabrina and Mega Alakazam, apparently, they do a lot of damage. Base stats, she's probably, she probably has like what, the lowest base stats on that made this list, right? Her base stats are low in terms of her special attack. Good for her support. For a striker, that like Barry has like 100 more special attack or something than her. I don't even know. Barry probably does. You know what? Let me check real quick. How much special attack does Barry actually have? All right, at max potential, max level, Barry has 440 special attack. Yeah, Barry blows Sabrina out of the water in terms of base stats on special attack, but Sabrina blows Barry out of the water, which is, again, I think more fitting because Barry's, opponent's water type. But yeah, it's the other things. It's the other things that made Sabrina so incredibly high here. Grid plus gear, psychic gear exists, also some grid stat notes. Move power 138, that's max psychic, right? Passive's active, critical strike 2, that's on her grid, right? So she literally just has that. It doesn't even need like a lucky skill for that. And also like having critical strike inherently as your skill without like using lucky skill is like just so broken, just because unlike a lot of the other units on this on this list, and some of the other units on I guess yesterday's list, like Charizard, right? Charizard, I'm not saying Charizard doesn't deserve that spot, but Charizard was the only one that came to mind. But stuff like Power Reserve and all that stuff, they are really hard to activate in comparison to critical strike on a user that has max crit. Like, yeah, I think critical strike is probably the main reason why Sabrina was even like, could even make this list. Well, it's one of the main reasons. I would say the only reason, because she also has max crit, max attack buffs or special attack buffs, and the lucky skill we use here is Powerflux 3. Again, she doesn't have any move gauge buffs, but since she does have critical strike 2 inherently, that just means a different passive will give her more damage boost, because or else we'll just have to do like the both critical strikes additively, and that's going to be like critical strike 4 instead of as a separate multiplier with Powerflux 3, which is why Powerflux 3 in this scenario will do more damage. Not by too much though, honestly. Sync move buff 1.5 as usual. So 300,000 or 303,107 damage is Sabrina and Mega Alakazam. Moving on to number 5 on the list, Gardenian Roserade, a 4-star unit. Gardenian Roserade. They are really good. And you guys probably guessed what's next on the list, right? Once you see Gardenian Roserade here. But let's go over them first before we discuss this and the next pair, right? So base stats 394, grid plus gear 50, 146.7 move power, influenced by accuracy, right? Leaf Storm is not 100% accurate, so that's why it's slightly lower than what it is. No passive active, grid passives active. That should be 0, but I guess 1 is fine as well because it's ×1, which again doesn't mean anything. Moving on, lucky skills active, critical strike 2, crit buff 1.5, attack buff 1.8. She gets max special attack and max crit, which is pretty insane. And then sync move buff 1.5, and then total damage 316,555. Gardenian Roserade. What else could you ask for? Max special attack buffs, max crit buffs. Huge damage on Leaf Storm. You could throw in Crit Strike there to make it even more, right? And really high base stats as well. It's almost 400, right? So, as you guys probably guessed, number 4 is the other Roserade, which is Brendan Sceptile. So these two, look at their total damage. Like, it's very similar. 316,000 for Brendan. And 300. Wait, that is not correct. They were so similar. I completely forgot to like change them. Anyways, the only difference between these two, as I try to find my stuff, the only difference between these two is the base stats. So Brendan actually has 419 base stats, which is what 15 more 15 more than what Roserade has, right? And that does result in around Brandon Sceptile's damage is total damage is 334,379.18. So yeah, just slightly more base damage when you do compare these. Obviously these two work very well. I wouldn't say very different, but generally it's sort of different, right? Brennan, you have to start out using your trainer move that uses 3 gauges, dart hit. So Brennan does start out a bit slow. Well, actually both of them do start. You know what? Actually, they're kind of similar. But yeah. Guardian, you do have to wait till 3 Leaf Storms, right? After you get your special attack down to -6 with 3 Leaf Storms, then you have to use your trainer move. Which, on the bright side, in comparison to Brandon Sceptile, right? You don't actually have to use any move gauges, so that's an upside for Gardenia. But you know, generally in comparing them, Brennan does have much more speed, right? So there's also that for Sceptile, right? And then, you know, after 3 turns, you get max special attack with Gardenia, but with Brennan, you get it from the start, right? And then you slowly decay. So there's Brennan, Sceptile. They're so similar. When I was looking at the graphics and trying to, you know, create them, I completely thought these were like the same. Anyways, moving on to number 3 on this list. So this is honestly the biggest surprise on this list. I did not see this coming from a mile away, because generally what we've seen so far on this list has just been a lot of, you know, 3 gauge, 4 gauge strikers, right? You know, that's just, yeah, generally more gauges equals more damage on your moves, right? So this is what I just did not see come at all. At number 3, Pikachu, Betty, Scotty, which is the names of your main characters, by the way, if you don't know, plus Pikachu at number 3. Did not see this coming at all. Yeah, but it's with very, very good reason. Very good reason. And you'll see once we go through it, right? Base stats 394, special attack, grid plus gear 55, move power 88 on a Thunderbolt, which is a 2 gauge move, right? After you add up all the buffs to it, right, from the grid. Passives active 0, grid passives active 3.6 times multiplier. Okay, that's a lot. So you have power reserve 5 and 9, so that's basically what power reserve 14, right? Plus paralysis synergy 5, so that's an extra 50% boost with a already 140% boost. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a huge multiplier. So basically it's a multiplier, right? That really put Pikachu over the top. Oh, by the way, it does not have crit buff. That's also another typo. Oof. Yeah, it doesn't have crit buff. As you can see in the in the final damage, it does not have crit buff. But yeah, does have 1.6 attack buff. That's why it's Power Flux 3, right? Would make no sense if we use Power Flux 3 if it had, you know, crit. I mean, you guys know what Pikachu is. Pikachu does not crit. But yeah, after that you get 382,349 damage, and that's a lot of damage for something that, you know, only uses a 2 gauge move, right? With Pikachu. And yeah, it's honestly all thanks to its grid passives. Without those, it wouldn't be this high at all. So yeah, did not expect this one. Moving on. So here is the huge damage jump. So here's what almost, you know, near 400,000, right? The next jump is like, it's double this damage. And coming in at number 2, Clair Mega Houndoom. Alright, so Clair Mega Houndoom got a huge makeover after the Synchrid. Like before the Synchrid, like they don't do any damage at all. They don't do it. They're an embarrassment of a striker, right? Well, it's regular Houndoom, not so much Mega Houndoom. But now after the Synchrid, look at that total damage, 800,000. that huge jump from Pikachu to whatever this is, right? From the, what was it again? Almost four. It didn't even reach 400,000, and this is like more than double 400,000. So Red Mega Houndoom, 419 base stats, Grid plus Gear 65, Move, Power, Dark Pulse, 122 passives active, 0 Grid passives active. So here's where the trickery comes in, right? For Mega Houndoom, it's also grid passives like Pikachu, but like much better. So we have Foul Fighting, Dirty Fighting 5. Those are like two 50% boosts, and then Overpowered, Dark Pulse Overpowered, which, you know, after your opponent's special attacks are lowered by 6, does give you a extra 30% boost. Yeah, they are really strong. Is it really hard to get that scenario? Yes. Why? It's not that, I mean, it's not like logistically that like bad. It's just that no opponent will survive that. Like the opponents die in the setup process. The opponents will die when you're setting this up. It's just so like incredibly powerful. Lucky skills active, got Critical Strike 2 because yeah, you have max crit buffs, right? You have move gauge buffs. Crit buff 1.5, attack buff 1.8. She got full just max self buffs, right? In terms of special attack buffs and crit buffs as well. And sync move buff obviously 1.5. Total damage 839,396. That's a lot of damage. She came so close to dethroning what everyone already knew is at number 1, right? She came super close to taking out Red Mega Charizard X, but not today. So number 1, surprise? I don't know. Is anyone surprised? 60 Red Mega Charizard X again was number 1 on the physical list, number 1 on the special list. 60 Red Mega Charizard X are just a monster without supports, right? Base stats 496. Is it really? Wait, is it really 496? Let me check. Oh my god, it really is. Really is 496. I did do a double take there. Grid plus Gear 115. 115? Okay, we did this like a day or two ago, and I'm just looking back at this, and oh my goodness. Move power 229 on Blast Burn with Piercing Gaze, so it doesn't miss. Grid passives active. We got Power Reserve 2, which is probably what put it over Karen, right? But hey, Karen also has really hard to achieve conditions for her damage output, right? So it's only fair. Lucky skills active, Power Flux 3, because of Rejuvenate, right? This could also be another reason, honestly. Crit buffs 1.5, attack buffs 1.8, right? My Destiny twice, plus 6 special attack already. Crit buffs, Dire Hit plus, Sync Move buff 1.5, total damage 884,008. So there you go, the top 10 hardest hitting special attackers in the game. A few ones that I did not expect seeing, you know, being up here. Well, one being Pikachu, right? For one. Houndoom, I did not expect Houndoom to be on the level with Red. I thought, you know, I knew Houndoom was like really good, but I thought Houndoom was like more, maybe better than Blue type. But no. Houndoom is all the way up here, and that's pretty impressive. So props to the Houndoom grid. Kingdra also surprised me a bit as well as Infernape. Yeah, well, damn. There we go. Anyways, that's been for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos, subscribe to the channel for some more promo content. I'll see you guys in the next one.